Hello, Gemini. Welcome to your March 1st through 15th soul session. I am Marlo. If you're new and if you're okay, family, welcome back, my friend. And what's not or whatever. So we're going to jump into the cards that just flipped out on my desk to see what's going on with you guys through the 1st to the 15th of March. You know what I'm saying? Anywho, first card out we have is the Devil card. That's Capricorn energy. Next card out we have is the Nine of Swords in the reverse. Interesting. And the next card that we have is the Nine of Cuppies. That is quite interesting of a combination there, Gemini. So what it's looking like for the first week of March, Gemini, you guys are coming out of February and into March in this devil energy. And I do feel this is extremely mental. You know what I'm saying? It feels very mental to me. And it's more or less speaking to binds and strongholds, but I feel for you all, it's very similar to Taurus, ironically. I feel very specifically for you guys, it's more or less a desire to get out of a particular pattern. And for some of you, I just heard addiction. And I know that the Devil card deals with addiction, but I rarely, if ever, say that. But it's more or less like an addiction. I mean, it can be like, substances and things of the sort, but it can also be like, a mindset. It could be a collection of bad behaviors as well. Another thing I can see with this too, with this Nine of Swords in the reverse coming out here, that it could be, and that is so weird for me to see this. I was gonna say insomnia, but when I got like my guys literally just gave me a flash or something, I was like, oh, that's not insomnia. So I have to clarify this. So I'm seeing this, I thought it was insomnia, but this is kind of like if you have to go to work in the morning and oh wait, gosh, that's a thing. I read an article about this like a couple of years back. It's a Japanese word, I can't remember it, but it's like this phenomenon for people who work like a 9 to 5 kind of job, and at the end of the night, that is exactly what this is. That is so freaking lit. So I can't remember what the like how it's translated into English, but it's a phenomenon where people who get off from work, and it's like good and well you have to get up in the morning and go to work, right? But it's like you'll get on social media and scroll like you're on TikTok just scrolling, or you're turning on Netflix and you're like watching a whole series and you're fully aware of the fact that you have to go to work in the morning, but it's almost like putting yourself into a position to do this. Now, the thing is, you would think, oh, that's self-sabotage, but it's not, because the clinical study that was done on it found that the motivation behind it is a sense of gaining control, even though that there's consequences for it. It's more or less a subconscious way that you're trying to regain control of your life, because you going to bed at a certain time is contingent upon the fact that you have to go to work in the morning, right? And you have to be at work for the set number of hours, and then you get off, and for Monday through Friday you're in the same routine. So it's almost as if your life is out of your control. But it's like, scrolling at nighttime, even past your bedtime, or watching, Netflix until the wee hours of the morning. It's a way of you gaining control, because you're actually looking at something that you're interested in, even though it's kind of to your detriment, if you will. If I can find that article, I mean, if you guys Google it, I'm pretty sure you could find it. But if I can find that article, I'll post it in the comments, because it was very insightful. But that's literally, so this is a new thing for the Nine of Swords in the reverse. That's literally what I'm seeing. So it's not a thing of like, like insomnia, because, that's more on the clinical side of things. But this is something that you actually do have control over. And I would also use that kind of as an energy signature of certain things that we could be doing, even though there's valid reasons for it, because it's a sense of trying to regain control of your life. Because with the Devil card, of course, it's like you're feeling oppressed in some way, shape, form, or fashion. But there's a need to recognize that pattern, which is a lot like what I told Taurus. There's a need to recognize that pattern to break the chain of it, so that you have dominion over it. So it's less about like, oh yeah, go to bed on time, right? It's less about that, because it's like, we know the reason why it is, hypothetically, using this as an energy signature, we know the reason why you're staying up is because you're feeling out of control or oppressed by your particular job, right? So the thought now becomes, is this a call for you to potentially look at other career paths, other jobs? Is it a call for you to, find something that's more constructive for you to do, where you're not staying up super late and, having to get up super tired going to work or what have you? I feel that's more or less what you guys are going to be digging into within the first week. But I also have to say that is a specific thing that came out, but it's not saying that that's that for everyone. That's why I say energy signature, because in the bigger scheme of things, it's something that you guys feel oppressed by, or it's something that you guys are doing habitually. And it's like you're kind of starting to see this particular pattern and wanting to come out of agreement of it, because you know that it's not really helping, it's hurting, right? So that you guys can get over to the other side with your 9 of Cups. So there is an element of, for some of you, depending on what it is we're talking about, y'all, there is an element of self-sabotage here, but it's less about focusing on the self-sabotage and it's more about focusing on where it is that you're at. Like, where are you in life that you feel oppressed, or you feel bound, or you feel chained, or you feel you can't get out of it? And it's I'm going to use a jargon word, but it's like in utilizing like maladaptive coping or self-soothing methods to combat this oppression or this control that you feel to be under. And the key is recognizing that, and even so, the same thing, if this is like a substance type of thing, if you're drinking a lot or smoking a lot or whatever the case, it's like that's a temporary fix for the bigger problem being the proverbial devil. And there's a need to, in the first week of March, to focus more on the devil and what the issue is with that, as opposed to whatever the, maladaptive coping skill is, or the, maladaptive self-soothing skill is, because that's a symptom of the deeper problem being the devil. You feel what I'm saying? Not like the devil, but I mean, whatever the devil is in your particular life at this time. So there's a need to address that, as opposed to coping with it, like keeping the devil in your life and utilizing coping mechanisms and self-soothing that's destructive to you and not addressing the devil. I hope and pray that that makes sense, right? Because that's the only way that you guys are going to get to your 9 of Cups. But I do feel that whatever this 9 of Swords is for you guys specifically, that's kind of the block that's standing between you and what it is that you actually want. You feel what I'm saying? Well, the devil really is, child. I'm saying both of them. Let me just say that. So anywho, going into the second week, I like that. Going into the second week of March, we have the 2 of Cups. Okay, I like that. So the whole thing is getting back on one accord with yourself. So I feel what the whole issue is here, Gemini, it's almost like, and this reminds me of Pisces soul session. It's almost like you guys kind of getting off track with yourself. So it's kind of like, how do I want to say that? I don't want to say it in the sense of like losing sight of, how do I want to say that? It's not that you guys have lost sight of yourself or the end goal or what have you. I just feel that you guys aren't on one accord with yourself. And specifically, it's like a heart and mind type of thing. So it's a very practical example of this would be like you're working a job, but your heart really isn't in it. You feel what I'm saying? Like you really don't want to be there. But I feel, and that's where we can get into the devil speaking specifically about an addiction to like a thought pattern. You feel what I'm saying? Where you're at the job, you don't like it. You know what I'm saying? It's like the bane of your existence, where, you have like the Sunday evening sadness where you're like, oh, I got to go back to my, like, God damn it. You're having a good day until you remember you got to go to work Monday. But it's a belief in, okay, they're telling me to say that. It's a belief for some of you where I hate it here, right? But I made a commitment. So since I made a commitment, it's like I can't not quit because I made a commitment. You feel what I'm saying? That would be like a self-sabotaging like mindset, because even though you did make a commitment and you may be a person who wants to hold your commitments, it's the fact that you being here is, and I'm just going to go all out and be extra. and say, but it's, destructive to you. So it's not helping you, it's not benefiting you. So it's kind of like in a situation like that, you have to say, screw whatever, promise or whatever it is that you made or commitment that you made, if it's not helpful to you. But I feel that there's some sort of limiting mindset here where even though your heart isn't in it, it's like your mind is telling you, you have to do this. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason. You feel what I'm saying? And with this Two of Cups coming out in the second week of February, it's really speaking to putting your heart and your mind back on one accord, because it's being in a place that is in opposition to what the whole theme of this year is, where your mind is leading the charge and your heart is just like, well, I guess I'll follow you off the edge of the cliff since you know so much. You feel what I'm saying? And it's more or less about, the heart being honored as its rightful place, like intuitively listening to your emotions, to what your desires are, what your passions are, and letting your mind be in service to it. And it's the two of them working in one accord to get you to where it is that you're going. So this is very much about my Geminis having, in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Oh my gosh, that is totally what the thing, child, I know you lying. Look at that. Look at God. I just thought about the Cross Watchers Only reading about Gemini, and it was like a message from your guides in that particular reading. And the whole message for the person that the reading was for was all about them stepping into like a higher call and a higher purpose, and how the romantical relationship that they were in, that person was their proverbial devil. So it's like fraternizing with that person is what was keeping them from what their divine calling and purpose was. So this is literally another side of that, minus the romantical person. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same message, because that reading was for March too. So legit, dude. So this is literally talking about, and this is very much like Pisces, because what you guys do have in common with Pisces as well as Sagittarius is you guys being dual signs, meaning that, there's two of you. You know what I'm saying? Like Pisces is two fish, y'all are two twins. And then Sagittarius is half man and half horse. You know what I'm saying? So so that's something that you guys do have in common in that regard. But anywho, it's very similar to the message I got for them. They also got the Two of Cups. It's more or less about a reunion within yourself, because the thing I'm seeing with this, it's like a fracture with the self. And we use that illustratively as like heart and mind. So like, your emotions and your intellect, it's like them being in direct opposition to each other. And it's about a reunion of this, because once the heart and mind are back on one accord, that puts you back into alignment with yourself, and thus on to the path of your purpose and things of the sort. So that's just what I just said. Next card you guys have is the Five of Wands in the reverse. And then we have the Hanged Man. So a little bit of personal accountability here. So the thing is, with this Five of Wands, it's more or less speaking to an inner conflict. And it's also speaking to the fact that the inner conflict exists because you're not stepping up into your power. You feel what I'm saying? So with this emotional reunion, which would more or less be the call for the second week, the week of the 15th of March, it's a need, like I said, for a reconciliation within the self, right? That's more or less what the charge is for you. But the main issue you guys are overcoming with this Five of Wands in the reverse is you may be feeling unsettled, and even child looking at this falling under this Nine of Swords in the reverse. It's feeling off kilter, feeling out of place. And then my guides just said, there's a lack thereof of living in accordance with what your core values are. You know what I'm saying? And I have a quiz to show you what that is on my website. But anywho, but it's more or less there's an inner conflict because you feel like out of alignment with yourself, or out of alignment with your values would be the answer to what the problem is. That would be the root of the issue, right? Because whenever we're feeling kind of off balance or like lost in life, or things are just feeling off, it's 9 times out of 10 because we violated our own core values, right? So it shows up as like anxiousness, or insomnia, or, numbing out with TV, drinking too much, whatever the case, right? But at the end of the day, of course, you guys are trying to get to a place of balance, but this is something that needs to be addressed. So it's not just about like, oh, I'm going to get my heart and my mind back on one accord and then we're Gucci, because with the Hanged Man, and I always say that that's buku signs because one day I forgot. So now I say the Hanged Man is for Pisces, It's for Aquarius and for Cancer. Just the thing I do, because I forgot one day. But anyway, but with this Hangman, I'm really feeling this is personal accountability. So this is coming up into the 15th of the month. So all in all, what I'm seeing is Gemini. It's more or less seeing whatever this little oppressive force is or whatever this block is for you guys. It's recognizing the symptoms of the deeper problem, but focusing less on the symptoms and more on the fact that they are there because of said deeper problem. And knowing that with the 9 of Cups, if you're wanting to get to a place of personal fulfillment, right? If you want to get to your happy place, all of that starts and begins with you having a reunion with yourself or your twins coming back together to stop fighting. And there's a need for you to step into your power because that is the root of the inner conflict. It's the fact that you have disempowered yourself to this person, this situation, job, whatever it is that we're talking about. It's like you've put yourself in a place of disempowerment in reference to this. And all of this stuff happening are like warning signs trying to tell you like, hey, you're out of alignment and it's time for us to get back on one accord. But in order to do that, leading up until the 15th, and this is 9 times out of 10 going to bleed into the second half of the month. So of course, be sure to check out your mid-month checkup. Those are available on all the membership platforms, Patreon, all the things, the network, everything. But anywho, but the whole premise of this is, which I know is going to bleed into the latter part of the month, is you guys needing to take an epic step back. And if there's any consequences in reference to decisions that have been made up to this point, there's a need to put the big girl, big boy panties on and to accept, like, I have put myself in this situation. Like, based on the situation, the decisions that I've made, I'm here, right? So it's like, I took on this job, I really freaking hate it, and I want to quit. And yes, my boss may be extremely disappointed, but this isn't working for me. So I'm going to quit and watch them cry their eyes out, which your boss probably isn't going to do. But anyway, but it's a need to really take an epic step back and to really get clear on what it is that got you to the point that you're at and come to a place of acceptance about it. And my assumption, just projecting into the latter part of the month, it's probably 9 times out of 10 going to have a lot to do with you guys making a decision how it is you're going to chart your way forward, not fixating on the past, like, oh my gosh, how did I do that? No, it's more or less like gathering information. Okay, I accept this is how I got here, but this is where I want to go, and creating a plan in opposition to this and stepping forward to do so. Because I feel why this is happening this way. It's more or less for you guys to be your own rescuer, because I don't get any vibes. And I mean, it shouldn't be that way anyway. It's like you guys, no one's coming to really rescue you out of this. But I feel it's like you have to be the one to end it type of deal. And I can't recall at the moment. I kind of feel like I said something similar in that Cross Watchers Only meeting. Did I say meeting? Freudian slip. The Cross Watchers Only reading. I don't remember if it was Gemini, but I know it was one of the signs. I said something along the lines of like being too afraid to break up with the person because being afraid they're going to change, or that you made a mistake, or that you're overreacting. So it's like waiting for that person to break up with you type of deal. So it's kind of holding yourself hostage. So it's that same kind of energy signature, but I'm seeing this more on an individual level, where if you guys don't make the decision, it's like you would be a willing participant in your own demise. You feel what I'm saying? Once again, at the bottom of you guys' deck, in the position of why all of this is happening, it is the 6 of Swords in the reverse. That card is clearly stalking us in March, but it's more or less speaking to, yet again, it's a mindset shift. It's like the way that you're thinking about things or perceiving things, or the way that you're seeing the world or seeing yourself, something about that needs to shift. And what I really feel that it is, it's an old false belief system. You know what I'm saying? Like, kind of like what I was saying. It's like, oh, I made a commitment. It's like, I freaking hate it here. Like, I want to, put number 2 pencils in my ears, but I made a commitment. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like, granted, yes, you want to be a person of your word, but if you made a commitment to something that's detrimental to your mental health, your emotional health, or is just making you develop a drinking habit or something out of nowhere, then that's not beneficial to you, right? It's like, that's literally like self-betrayal in a sense, especially if it's something that's violating your core values. So it's a decision that needs to be made, and it's a decision that needs to be made in support of yourself, even if that disappoints or hurts other people's feelings in the process. You feel what I'm saying? Because that's the only way you guys are going to be able to step back into your power. Because I feel there's a decision that was made leading into this where you literally chose to disempower yourself. And that's something that needs to be acknowledged by the 15th. Otherwise, much like I said to Taurus, you guys would remain stuck in this same old cycle. You feel what I'm saying? But anywho, Gemini, that has been your soul session for the 1st through the 15th. Most certainly let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, I love your freaking face, and I will see you guys sooner than later, my friends.